3, 2, 1, half, quarter, 8, 16th, and then we can go.
Let's go.
Hi legends and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to run through what it actually takes to open a bar from 0 to hero, taking the perspective of a very great bartender friend of mine, which is Panda from Waiana Bar in the heart of Zurich Center.
Aloha.
Aloha. So, Panda, I've been impressed by your crafting skills, your mixology skills. I've been impressed by all of this. We met during a cocktail competition, the Nick Perfect Serve. We were both Swiss finalists, so we are representing 20% of the finalists back then, because they were just then. And yeah, so I always fell in love with your way of making drinks and stuff. Then during master classes, I also discovered that you actually were opening and owning a bar in Zurich Center. It's a very fun concept because it's just a second tiki bar that I've seen in the full Switzerland at the moment, at least in Zurich, I'm sure. So run us through what it actually takes to open a bar, what are the struggles, what are the pleasures and the gains in doing so, and how did you come out with the idea of making a tiki bar in the most emblematic center of Zurich, like something very kind of old, kind of very fashion style forward with all the luxury brand, and you went from the completely different perspective, a little bit like Don the Beachcomber.
A little bit, yeah. So I'll try to run you through without you ever wanting to open a bar, because obviously in the foreground, in the forefront, it's all fun and oh my god, have my own bar. Wow, nice. Obviously, it's not just fun and fame, and I don't find the bags to cash the money in.
It's like a business, I guess. It's
exactly.
Like, of course, you need to put your very hard work. Like you're starting a company, you're starting a bar, whatever you're starting, it's going to be fun as long as you are motivated as hell to do it, because it's not true that you are going to work your 40-hour a week like in a full-time employed job. You're going to work maybe 60, 80, 100 hours, 110 hours in the peak moments, and you won't care on paper,
So since last July 1st, we opened, constantly having over 100-hour weeks.
Yeah.
Without 1 week under 100 hour. So that's one part which you want to open a bar. Cool. I think most of the bartenders, after a couple of years, we have this idea. Would be nice to open our own bar, do our own things. We don't have to listen to our bosses, who mostly don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. So I guess, and I know that a lot of you guys, new bartenders, a little bit older bartenders, having these thoughts too. Let's open my own bar. So what do you need for that? Obviously, actually not even money. The first is an idea. What you want to open. There was last Zurich Bar Show. There was a really interesting seminar from one of my personal friends from Hungary, Zoltán, who owns Boutique Bar in Budapest, which is the only one cocktail bar in Hungary which ever got into top 50.
So Boutique Bar, I'm going to go to Hungary, to Budapest in 2 weeks' time from the recording.
Perfect. Boutique Bar.
Boutique Bar.
Boutique Bar. That's in the city center.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you for. I'm going to spam a lot on the messages in those days for getting recommendations.
I will mute him.
Yeah.
So Zoltán had a seminar which is basically the 5W. If you want to open a cocktail bar, what, where, why, for who, and the fifth one, which
like
I forgot.
The journalism 5Y.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. So the most important things you need is a concept. What you want to open: a classic bar, a speakeasy bar, a club, an Irish pub, a tiki bar. In my example, why tiki? It's super easy. I've been in gastronomy since 18 years, and as you can imagine, 18 years I had my ups and downs many times, and I dare to say that I fall out of love of bartending a couple of times, got tired a couple of times, wanted to change a lot of times, but something still kept me in. Somehow I still love to make drinks and make people's evenings better for them to live with a smile.
I know. I think
Probably
that professional bartending, it's a craft and it's a passion, which then pays your bills as a byproduct by maybe working in places you don't love completely, because maybe the ownership does not let you buy the tools for getting you the full potential and everything else, because it's a passion and a craft. So sometimes I believe I've been also overlooking when I was working in other people's bars, overlooking a little bit what is the cost and the profit, because maybe you go for the vision and the dream instead. So maybe sometimes you make some compromises that a business is not likely to accept. And then when you start instead going on your direction, that you are actually opening the bar, you start seeing this, what has to be done, what you can do, and what are the different costs associated, what are the possible revenue associated as well. So I think it's pretty cool to talk with you today.
Yeah. So as I said, you need a concept first. You have your concept, you can fully stand behind it. It's something you want to make, and here I feel to really put the weight on it, something which you can stand behind. If you see around that, oh my god, classic cocktail bars are working everywhere, wow, let's open one and cash in, it's not gonna work. If you make it from passion, then you can give that to your guests. Otherwise, you will fail. So you have the concept, you have something which you want to do. Cool. Now comes the harder part. You need money for that. In Switzerland, if you look up a couple of websites where you can find gastronomy objects, depending on the location and the size, the takeover price is somewhere between 150,000 to 2 million francs.
2 million I didn't see, but I didn't even see the 150. So it means I didn't look as close as you. I saw that it's between 200 and 400, 500, the takeovers usually.
I researched for a year.
Yeah.
I was searching for a year for a place which fits every single thing I wanted. Even after a year looking, I made 2 missteps. It's important to mention that I'm not doing this alone, obviously. I have my wife, who's my partner, and we have an investor behind us. Otherwise, without an investor, you stand a very, very little chance.
As
a bartender or even bar manager, or I would even say if you're a hotel manager, knowing the salary of a hotel manager, the amount of money which takes to open a bar, it's not something you can put aside just from your salary. If I want to be completely honest, it's just not. That's it.
And it doesn't matter in which year, because everything you're going to save is not going to be good the next year for that anyway.
Doesn't really matter. So once you have a clear vision, once you have an investor who's interested in you, because that's another important point, like the investor needs to be interested in you as well, need to believe in you. That's another topic which we can talk hours, that how investors' minds are working. And let's be brutally honest, gastronomy is not something which for a top tier investor is something they care for. They can do stock exchange, they can do crypto with a big team, they can do real estate, which returns 10 times, 100 times more money and way more safer than opening a bar.
The only way, as an investor, because I'm also investing in private equity and public equities, so I'm getting started on this. So I'm not there yet, but I'm starting thinking a little bit in this perspective. The only way an investor would care about it for sure would be to connect it to the real estate business itself. So if, for example, you are buying this building, which has got the ground floor, which is convertible very easily to a bar, then it can be good to also say, hey, I'm investing in you because then I own the underlying building anyway, which will appreciate over the years because I made my calculation on everything, then I can maybe go like this. But it's a very rare case scenario, and probably you need to have like a worldwide recognized name. So if you are like a world-class bartender, like an Eric Lawrence, after 7 years working in a Savoy bar as head bartender, which is basically like your god, then goes there and says, yeah, I would like to make this, then people will just rely on the name, the skill set, and the profile. Even if you are like incredibly good, like you, anyway, it's already an achievement that an investor really believes in this concept of making a bar that will work without having the walls.
Yes.
So it's remarkable that anyway you got it, and you got it without too much struggles. I mean, of course, you struggled a little bit, but then in the end, you managed to,
Yes.
which also says a lot of like your bartender profile and you as a person kind of profile for me.
Yeah, thank you. So you have your concept, you have your investor, then comes the boring part, the technical part. You need a business plan. We tried with Betsy to make our own business plan. Not something which you can do from scratch just easily. So we hired a company, one of the best in Switzerland. They made our business plan. They made a complete market research back for years, prediction for years coming. Basically, they created for us a business plan in 1.5 months, over 70 page, which convinced the investor that, okay, these numbers, of course, then they're gonna check, his team gonna check, or her team gonna check that the numbers are valid and not just BS.
So probably it also played a part that being 70 pages, people got bored reading after 10. So they were like,
yeah, that's why they have the team.
It's going to work. It's fine.
That's why they have the team and research teams. When we're talking about, we're talking about my investor, he has the team which will search it through and find any mistake.
But is it like a private investor, so like an angel investor from the business perspective, or a venture capital which invests in this idea?
He is somewhat both. He is into venture capitalism. He is into real estate.
It's an angel investor then. So it's one person that put the money.
Basically.
So
he put down 70%.
That falls on angel investor.
Okay. Let's put it this way.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, as we said, you have your idea, you have your investor, you made a business plan. You made a business plan, it went through, you got the green light. Then you need to find a space. Then you start to research which area should be good for your concept.
Yeah.
That's where we kind of made the first mistake, because we are in the center of Old Town. That's Kreis 1.
You're probably in more central than this place. I don't know if
there is no central than this area in Zurich.
This is the most central possible.
So that also means that this area is absolutely full of restaurants, and we opened as a cocktail bar. Our neighbors were full every day as a restaurant, and we stood here as a bar. So we needed to react on that, open our kitchen, serve some food to lure some guests in. Took us some time, obviously, to open a restaurant or to open a kitchen, because it was not planned. So you need to react. That's something which you have a plan and then you adjust. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So we found a place. Of course, for this location, we had over 200 applicants who wanted to have this place. There were we, young people, with different concept. The building itself, it's one of the oldest building in Zurich. It was built where we are sitting now and we are talking. That was built in 1240. So the ground floor is almost 800 years old. The building
also lives a little bit. It's beautiful to have like the super historic place. On the other end, when you are going to look for the takeover, you need to make sure that infrastructure is renewed enough. I mean, for a tiki bar, the older the funnier it is, of course. But for the bar structure, you need to make sure that it works, that all the other electricity outputs are okay, everything. So there are like very good sides on it, very bad sides on it. So I think that the tiki bar in this kind of structure is the best kind of idea.
We will see in the future. We believe in it. So
The burger is good, by the way. It was not planned, but the burger is good. Little info in case you are passing in Zurich and you are coming to Waiana just to check this out.
Burger and Mai Tai.
Oh yeah, burger Mai Tai.
Yes.
I was starving so much last time that I ordered. I'll go for the burger. I didn't even read what was inside. I was like, is there fish inside? No, okay, I want it. Why would there be fish inside the burger? I don't know. I just want to make sure. Okay.
So obviously you plan, and you have a clear vision. You have deadlines. You have dates which you need to keep. First of all, because you said something for your investor that this gonna happen in this way, so you don't really want to
mess up
before you even open. Rebuilding something from scratch, and that was our case, because of the historic value. Basically, this building has one of the highest landmark protection in Switzerland, which means inside, outside, not allowed to change anything, not allowed to touch anything from the original walls, from the original windows. So we need to build a house-in-house system, which takes time, obviously. Financially.
House? What does it mean?
House-in-house, it means basically there was a guy, Andreas, who built for us from wooden structure, walls in front of the existing walls. So imagine 1 centimeter from the landmark protected walls, standing a structure, holding the whole place, whole decoration, but not touching the walls, not even a bit.
The reason why the walls are so big is not because you can run disco parties on the weekend. It's because there is the actual walls, and you create the full structure, like all this part. Maybe
so
not.
We can decorate everything.
Wow, okay. I was born in a UNESCO protected town, which is like a fortress, double fortress. Last one was Napoleonic, first one was way before that. My grandma could not even change the windows, even if they were noisy, and she could not sleep well.
Same here.
Yeah, so when it comes to historic building, it's a lot of pain and gain. And
you know how the song goes? Can't touch this. Nah.
True story. True story. That's it.
So we had a lot of plans, and then 70% went out the window, and we needed to act on a daily basis. Okay, this not gonna work. Okay, what's gonna work?
Which?
This. Okay, choose one. Tack. Okay, bad idea. Cost way more than we expected. No problem. Spend a little more here. We cut something from here. Obviously, you have a budget. Now, if you have an investor and you have a budget, and you presented him that budget gonna cover everything, you don't want to
ask for more
money directly before you open. So you're gonna make it work. If you want to be a bar owner, that you need to be more flexible than a rubber band. That's for sure, because doesn't matter how. And I really believe that we did our research. We took our time. We were not in a rush before we started to look for a place. We did our research throughout 185% what we could, and still you cannot really prepare for what real life brings. Let's say one example: electricity. Cool, need electricity. You would think, I call a company, they come, they make it. Yes, of course. No, not that easy. They don't have time for the next 3 months. Then comes connections, friends. Okay, can you make it for me? Yes. Do you have a Swiss certificate? No. Good. Then I need another one, because in Switzerland you cannot touch electricity without a Swiss certificate. Doesn't matter if you come from Germany or United States and you did this for 40 years. If you don't have Swiss certification for touching electricity, you cannot. And that's not something you want to play with. So then you search.
Let's say from the budget that you have in mind, wherever you are going to do it in the world, consider maybe 20-30% reserve.
At least. You count out something which is X for that at 30%, at least 35%. That's your real cost. And then we're not talking about the first, let's say, first half to 1 year when you're not breaking zero per month, because you need reserve for that. You need reserve for your staff. You need reserve for marketing budget. You need reserve for reinvesting in things. In the best case, you don't forget something. That's thankfully we didn't. But still, something can go wrong. Something is not working. Something you need a second one. You need a lot of reserve, and you need to calculate with. That's what my investor said. Calculate with the absolute worst case prices. Calculate with the most expensive prices, and put on top of that 30%. That is your real number. And I was laughing when he said that. Then we started, and I was not laughing.
Understandable. It's understandable.
Yeah. Also, a very good advice: if you have an investor, listen to him or her. Just listen to them, because they are there.
They got there.
If you have an investor who can invest anywhere between half to 4 or 5 million in your place, depending on what you want to open, probably they got there because they know what they are talking about and they know how to invest. So if they say something, just listen to them. Of course, you can have questions and you can have doubts that he or she might not consider that, blah, blah. Mostly they are right. That's one very important lesson, which applies for anywhere in gastronomy, basically. Take your ego, shove it up where the sun don't shine, and start to listen, because that can spare you a lot of headaches and failures. So yeah, as we said, back to the baselines: concept, investor, business plan. Let's say you got the place, you start to renovate, you start to make whatever you want. Let's take at least 2-3 options for everything. Let's see our case: decoration. Obviously, in Switzerland, in Europe, you cannot find tiki decoration, jungle decoration, carved wooden masks, wooden statues, mugs, bamboos, anything. You cannot find that easily. So we researched from where we can order. Everything was overseas, either
Polynesia.
On the east, Polynesia, Thailand. We don't know anything of China, but Thailand and Vietnam for bamboos, or everything which is hardcore tiki and carvings, United States or Hawaii. Those.
Did you go on holiday or did you order?
Order. Love to go on a holiday to Hawaii.
No, yeah, sure, but my point is, if you are loading like a 20, like now, okay, you can sit at the moment, but there's at least other 20 meter of room / corridor with tables and everything else.
If you want to see, come by.
See, yes, in the heart of Zurich, in an historic building. Enjoy.
Look for the least tiki building in the entire country, and then there we are.
Yeah, but inside, I guarantee you, it's very tiki. So, let's say that there are maybe like 50 to 100 pieces of wood and stuff. Would it not make sense to go for a trip in like 4 people, rent an Airbnb, and then bring back 20 kilo each, and all the clothes that you buy, you just leave them, essentially? Or you just, it's going to be hot.
Would be if you have time. If you have time and resources, but there is also the reality that when things are starting to happen, when you got, so obviously before your investor gives you the green light, you have to still work somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't have financial or time resources to go and visit Asia or United States for decoration, which you might need if you can open your bar. So it's kind of like,
I would go there for inspiration and buy off all the decoration in the process, to be honest. But it was just for me to figure out, did you actually like go to the places, or did you order all the items that
we ordered?
Okay.
We ordered and we calculated, and then of course we ordered some things which we couldn't use. We ordered some things which were not right. There came Betty when she made half of our things, half of our decoration she made as a DIY, because we couldn't order something. She made it.
DIY. Do it yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
She did it.
Okay. Like always happy hour. Is that one?
No, that's right there. The Waiana, that's she did it from scratch by
Okay.
herself. The standing pole with the signs, she did it by herself.
Okay. And if you got curious, remember that this is Waiana in Zurich.
Exactly.
No.
So yeah, it's hard to have backup plans. And if you have a plan A, you have a plan B, and you have plan B, you make a plan C. And if you have a plan C, and you feel like okay now it's safe, just make the fourth one, like an absolute emergency. And trust me, it's gonna maybe you're gonna open with plan A everything, and it goes smooth like this. Good.
In a perfect world.
Perfect word. Works like that. You are happy. Absolutely cool. You wasted a little time to make 3 other plans. But if it's not going plan A, and you go for plan B and it's not working, and you go for plan C and it's not working, trust me, you will start to panic. So it's good to have a lot of plans in case of emergencies.
Well, but you still have a lot of hair, so in the end it kind of worked without too much stress in the end.
I have also a lot of white hairs. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what else? Let's say you open.
You're looking for the perfect place. Let's say if you went back to your young self and you wanted to just say, hey, I would look for this rather than that, what would be the main focus points for you to look for actually opening a business or for finding the perfect place? Would you just look for the fully crowded one? Would you go a little bit more farther away? How would you structure that?
I learned something a couple of years before.
Or would you look for the newest place in an historic place? Would you like for the newest building in an historic place? Would you, even if it's a bit more costlier, would you like to go for the old-fashioned style again? How would you structure it if you were to go back a couple of years from now? What would you make improve?
Interesting question. If I could redo it, as much headache we have with this location, there are so many positive that I think we would still go for this one. Obviously, construction-wise, we would change a couple of things with all the furniture, bamboo, and the actual making the walls and timing everything. That I would completely do with a different mindset. Out of that, our location, in our opinion, is perfect. And by perfect, I mean we gonna need a way longer time to run up the tiki bar because of the location, but there are so many positive things that I would rather choose that than go somewhere else in Zurich, where I might have different benefits.
But yeah, because if, for example, you go in a farther away place, then it's not. Then for me, it's also interesting to think like when you're starting a business as a bar, what you said before, it makes sense. You need to start from the idea as well before actually even looking for places. Because, for example, let's say that you want to open a speakeasy rather than a tiki bar. A tiki bar needs free marketing, free visibility, and everything else. Whereas instead, if you're opening a speakeasy, you are having harder time to get the customers, which will feel more exclusive and stuff, but you are also going to get a rental that is probably this place per month. It's like maybe 10K to rent or something. So if you're going for maybe a speakeasy, then you're opening it in the side street that nobody wants, and then you're refurnishing it. You're probably not going to pay for this and this and this and this and this cost. We can still go for premium premium booze and everything else, sorry. And well, like all the decor and all the rest, like stuff that anyway generates the business in the end. You are still going to pay maybe 2,000 per month because then you are making a longer rent with an determined amount of month before the contract ends. So you are probably going to save on that, but you are going to have to create the visibility through social marketing, which once again maybe will cost you 5K for making so a month. So you need to find your sweet spot. But what you are saying about getting in concrete the idea planned out and then finding the right spot makes sense.
Yes, I think that's the The absolute most important is the location. You choose the location wrong, and it might doom your idea.
Yeah.
Choosing the location right, it also takes patience. Like, you cannot try to open a bar in 3 months unless you have, infinite resources.
Infinite resources
Then
and
of course, then
previous
you can go.
experience.
Then you can go for the prime location, which, as I said, I found.
100% prime.
If I remember, I don't know exactly which one. Obviously, they didn't show. Like, all of these. That's the other thing. If you start to look for locations, all of these websites which provides, you never know what is exactly the place for you. In order to go and look for a place, you need to provide capital nachweis, like
That you prove that you can afford
proof that you have the money, which is a bank statement. So that's also one thing. Like, your investor need to be on board already, because if you find a place which size good, location, and by location I only mean first district, second district, third district, more you cannot see usually. Then they will ask, like, can you show me a bank statement that you have that 500,000, 1 million, 2 million on your account? Otherwise, they will not show you the actual location. So there comes the investor, of course, because probably as a bartender you don't have 2 million francs on your account.
Probably not.
Probably not. So I found one location that was somewhere here, and I think somewhere very, very near where we are now. Just to get the key, just to have the key. Then you have to refurbish, blah blah blah. Just to have the key, 1.8 million francs, because it was prime location, over 250 seats, big terrace, wine cellar. Obviously, we didn't need that wine cellar, but the size was also the size. Talking about size, you have to, when you want to open a business, you have to really calculate your turnover per day, how much you can produce. You have to really, you can have the best idea, if your location doesn't have the capacity to generate enough money, you're doomed. That's so many particles with opening business.
On the other hand, I would also say if the place is too small to generate the money, then you are going to have a hard time. But in the case that you are opening a venue, for example, this one is like 50 seats, maybe 30 outside.
65 ground floor, 30 first floor, 12 in the front terrace,
there a first
25 floor? On the back terrace.
Okay, I didn't know about the first floor. I'm making videos and I've been
But it's not yet done.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting.
Miscalculation. Talking about miscalculation.
That's interesting. Why not thinking about making it a speakeasy in case?
Too small. No bar.
No bar? So
that's just a room.
So you need a lift.
I have.
Yes. So, okay. So that's the thing, okay, so this is pretty cool, then there are different business models that you will think about, of course. I'm sure that you're going to do a great job anyway. But even when you are going for the spacings, I saw a lot of places that are a little bit too optimistic, and I get overwhelmed by that. What I mean with this, it's that many times you see places that open with like 400 seats and no idea how to fill them. So what it happens is that the place looks consistently empty. So for me, it's also important to consider the right size for the city size. Like if you are in London, you open a 400 seats in the city center in Piccadilly Circus, you are most likely going to fill it, just even because there is space and there is not enough space elsewhere. If you are in Zurich, maybe it's going to kind of work similarly if you are a restaurant or a very famous bar. But like, to be honest, if you are opening more than 200, 300 seats in a place like this, it's going to be very hard for that to be filled. Even next door, there is one of the most famous, at least the most famous hotel bar, I guess, the Wither Bar, a beautiful bar, so many whiskeys as well, and blah, blah, blah. It's quite bigger, substantially bigger. I mean, I think that just the inside is like 100 seats or so. Anyway, many times it's not even completely full. Sometimes it explodes in the weekend, but sometimes it's not even full. So you also need to consider what is the best kind of size that you want, because if you're having it with like 10-20 people and no other people will enter because they feel that it's empty, even if anyway relatively to other bars it has more people sitting than another bar, it will still look completely empty and not quite full. So people will not be rushing for that last table. They will be, there is space, and they will try to occupy the 6th top table, even being in 2. So this is going to anyway affect your revenue per square meter as well, if you want to put it as a business plan perspective. Hey, it's fine. You're doing a great job. This is the perfect sizing. No question about it. Then I also like the way you structured all the little spaces, all the tables, the way you connected them. So all the people have their own kind of private space, being kind of, I see like corner of the bar, corner of the bar, corner of the bar, but they're not corners even.
That's interesting. So how the bar looks now, it was not even close to the plan A, B, C, which we had. We planned something like little booths, like little huts by every window.
Perfect for COVID.
Also, little huts and everything, and we planned benches all over the place, like redo it with benches. And yeah, that was so beautiful on paper. And then the construction started, and oh, sorry, we miscalculated. Not we. We miscalculated. The walls are actually 1.5 centimeter from the original walls, and the structure is not 5, it's 6 centimeter, which doesn't sound that much, but it was just enough. If we would go with our main idea, you couldn't even pass between the bar and the booths. So, plan ABC out of the window. Didn't have plan D, because why would I have plan D for furniture? So we hand created all of our tables. That's why they look like Scrabble letters, but they fit. And then we went with that.
It works, I think, because they are like corner of the bar. Corner of the bar, historically, it's the place that sells the most.
Yes.
Because people can talk while being in non-threatening place and being kind of by themselves, but also in a group and talking with strangers in a decent way. That's why employees only works.
Yes.
You know, like every single place this is a place in New York that used to be top 50. Now I don't think it is anymore. But like I went there, I had to go there like 3 times without booking. The last time, and the one that I entered, I start queuing 20 minutes before the opening, and I was like queue number like 25. So I got to enter, and hour and a half after, I had a great time already, so I didn't need to be in bars anymore. But it's designed for meeting everybody all together in one single go. So this, I think, it's a great idea structure.
It kind of is.
Honestly, in business opening, remodeling and stuff, would you ever consider making, for example, a shoe rack instead of this table, for example, or whatever, making a shoe rack and then putting sand all over? So everybody goes completely without shoes?
No.
Would it be too crazy for Zurich?
Probably for Zurich it's too crazy, and then where you put the shoes, then you have to be extra careful that the sand doesn't have, just I don't know. One example pops into my mind now. Lady comes in, the earring falls off, goes in the sand. Then the next guest is coming without the shoes, steps on the earrings, goes to the leg. Blood everywhere. They sue you.
No, the sand is going to cover. I get the point.
Yeah, also when a lot of bars are making the design with designers, which is good. We used designer help also, but designer designer ideas are only working with actual bar professionals, where you know that something might look extremely good, it will not work in real life. So when you want to open your own bar, then you need to be the constructor, the designer, the shopping, the cleaner, everything, because at the end of the day, you need to know every square centimeter. How is it? Where is it? What it is?
True story. I used to work I had the luck to work in a private members club in London, which I'm not sure I can reveal the name because of contract agreements. But anyway,
I have a guess.
but like you can Google it anyway. It's no problem. It's the only bar. I had the luck to work in this bar. It was the only bar created by one of the 20 superstars architects in this world called Zaha Hadid, which there is an exposition close by in Paradeplatz about her. She created this only bar. They paid £2 million for this bar that felt like a spaceship. To be honest, with like these 3 stations, beautiful to see, incredible in the middle of the room. You felt like a rock star working in there, even if probably the rock stars were somewhere else. But yeah, like so many, like my one sent by a barback to just get the ice. He came back pale face like this, and he was like, who I just saw? It was like a dude from Beatles or Rolling Stones. I didn't even remember which one. And it was like this, and he threw the bucket and he stood still. I don't have ice. And I was like, just give me a moment. And that's how I discovered that empathy actually is a thing. So yeah, and by the way, this bar costing £2 million just for the creation, and beautiful, one of a kind, the only bar station created by this woman superstar. Anyway, it had the problem that in the parts where you could serve, there were a couple of parts that were kind of flexing and not being straight as a bar top. So sometimes you were just putting all your drinks, all your cocktail or something, and you were putting the glass for the vodka. You were pouring the vodka, then pouring the ice, and while you were pouring the soda, it was already on your falling on you or on the customer. Because it was not designed, it was created to be beautiful, not created to be functional.
Yeah.
£2 million for the bar.
Yeah, I'm sure the owner is super happy, and all the guests are super happy how beautiful it is, and all the bartenders and servers and people who are there, they hate every second of it because it's not practical. So, you want a bar, you need to have practical. Otherwise,
yeah,
don't have to tell you if it's not practical. If you lose seconds, and there are an entire teaching program about how to spare seconds behind the bars with round buildings and everything. Money is the most crucial in any
imagine
business.
You were crafting all the drinks and timing and using all your experience to save the 3 seconds here and there, and you were looking at the glass of water or the shot of tequila, depending on the case, for 2 hours because it was city center of London, so it was completely full. And there was disco clubbing in the evening and anything else. I was mainly in another section. That was my section, but I was covering shifts and going there as well for the bigger events because, then I was finishing before, so I could jump and do the long shift. Longest was just 18 hours shift that I've done in my life. It's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot. But going there and then saying, oh, I can do it, I'm going to save the second and serve the next customer so I can be a better employee and blah, blah, blah. And then that vodka tonic that you left on the side, as you fill it with the vodka, kind of falls down, breaks into the ice bucket, and then you need to summon 2 barbecs to get the refill quicker while sharing a station with somebody else. You just lost like at least 30 customers' time at best. And just because it was not designed correctly.
Yeah. So, bottom line is plan your bar. Use help, but plan yourself because you're gonna be there. Trust me, you're gonna be there at the beginning. Live there.
Yeah, at least for as long as you don't have enough profits that you can buy another one and still have more than one wage on your own.
Yes. So, I think this we covered mostly what is to open a bar. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Or to stalk
Alessandro.
You can put it down in the comments. You can also find all the relevant link about Instagram and of Waiana and maybe your Panda himself, so you can stalk him directly. Why not? And
Please.
he loves that, believe me. So thank you very much, Panda. This was an incredible experience, and I've learned a lot, and hope that the people did as well. Just put it down in the comments. Let's go with it. Have a good one, and cheers.